What is going on, FA Nation? Jon Impemba here with Ryan Hallam, bringing you yet another edition of 3-Point Play. Ryan, you and I just did a 3-Point Play last week. We're right back at it to debate 3 new topics to see which of you guys decide who has the right side of the argument. Before we can get off there, Ryan, how was your weekend? Has anything changed since our last 3-Point Play?
No, I saw that. I was like, "What? They must have really liked the last one." They put us back in the same video following week. No, everything's still good, man. It's finished up the fishbowl draft. 10 days to baseball, getting close to that special time when we think everything's coming back. And
fingers crossed. It looks like we are indeed getting 3 major sports back. NHL seemingly has their things getting finalized with their hub spots in Canada. We know the NBA bubble is in a world of its own right now with teams arriving there. And then, so far I've seen nothing but a bunch of highlights of inter-squad games there between MLB teams. So all of it's looking good. Let's hope we can get it going. Let's kick off today's 3-Point Play with, I think, a question that's been pretty heavily debated so far this season, pretty much since the beginning of the NFL draft. And that is rookie running backs here. I know I've had a couple of different discussions with people already, but I want to get your take here on who your favorite rookie running back is of this class in terms of fantasy value this season.
All right, so my choice is going to be Cam Akers, Los Angeles Rams, and let me give you my 3 reasons. The first one, he's one of the few guys who went to a place without a real veteran presence. They drafted Darrell Henderson last year in the 3rd round. Malcolm Brown has been there for a long time, but there wasn't a real number one. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Damian Williams, who's almost a Super Bowl MVP, DeAndre Swift as Kerryon Johnson. As much as he's hurt a lot, he's been around a little bit. J.K. Dobbins with Mark Ingram. A lot of these guys got not the best landing place, in my opinion. Henderson barely got on the field last year and is coming off knee injury. Malcolm Brown was nothing but average when he was on the field last year. So I think Akers has maybe the best chance of all these guys to come in and really, to me, has one of the best paths to a real workload right off the bat. So that's the first one. Second one is the team he landed on. The Rams offense last year wasn't great, I'm not going to lie, but they have a very good young offensive innovative coach in Sean McVay. And he's got to be better than he was last year. He has to be. I mean, the offense really kind of seemed pretty vanilla and wasn't very explosive. I don't know if it was, the lack of Todd Gurley. But even if they do run the same offense they did last year, it was a lot of 12 personnel, which put 2 tight ends in on the field. And as much as everyone's really excited about Tyler Higbee, not me, but a lot of people are excited about Tyler Higbee from a pass-catching capabilities. He's actually a really good blocking tight end. So to have him out there is almost like another offensive line. And the team has had a lot of success running the ball in the past. Gurley was a big explosive runner. So figuring either they do the vanilla offense from last year, which I don't think they'll do. I think Akers has a chance to succeed. And if they get back to being creative, I think Akers got a real chance to succeid there. And the third reason is going to be his skills. He's a good pass catcher out of the backfield. He ran a great 40 at 4.47 at the combine. Aced a lot of the other drills and really did himself a lot of favor. I know it's in shorts and drills, but still, he was one of the better running backs there. He had horrible blocking at Florida State. His offensive line was atrocious. So even if the Rams are just an okay offensive line, it's going to be better than what he had in college. And like Todd Gurley, he's kind of 5'10", 217. He doesn't really go down on first contact a lot. And he's also, with that size, a pretty good pass blocker, which with a lot of rookies that can decide your playing time. So between where he landed, his skills, and no veteran presence, my choice is Cam Akers.
I mean, Cam Akers, I think, is at least the consensus over at Fantasyland. It feels like Cam Akers has been our first rookie running back off the board primarily. I know Jonathan Taylor is getting a ton of love. Even recently, I've been seeing a lot of people tout DeAndre Swift as well. All those guys I think are great. I love Akers as well. For me, I'm actually going to go to a place that does have an established running back and a very good one, actually, and that Aaron Jones. I'm going to go with A.J. Dillon here. One, I love where we're getting him in terms of ADP value right now. He is going way in the second half of most drafts. You can get him usually around like 10, around 11. Just absolute awesome value for a guy who, again, we're looking at it as a fact that because Aaron Jones is there, there's some sort of like people are worried about what sort of playing time he's going to get. His ADP right now is 160.1. So again, you're talking 12-team leagues. You're getting him even later than I said. I said maybe 10 or 11. It's more like 12, 13th round at this point. So I love the value that we're getting at a guy like A.J. Dillon. Reason number two is the offense is transitioned under Matt LaFleur to be a very run-forward, run-heavy offense. We saw last year sort of the I won't say decline of the passing game with Aaron Rodgers there, but that offense was much more geared towards the run with Williams and Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones had 16 rushing touchdowns last year. Now they made a second-round investment in A.J. Dillon. To me, that means they're going to use him. I mean, that's a guy – you don't use a second-round pick on a big running back like A.J. Dillon if you don't have an idea for how to use him in that offense. So knowing that already they're a very run-heavy team, they didn't do much to improve the receiving group, as we've well documented here. It's basically Devontae Adams and then maybe a Devin Funchess and maybe an Allen Lazard. Good luck to you, Jay Sternberger, and maybe finally being the tight end that can do something in Green Bay. So this seems like it's going to be another run-first offense here, and you're getting an absolute bull in A.J. Dillon. And that's my reason number three. Matt LaFleur was the offensive coordinator in Tennessee in 2018, which was the first 1,000-yard season for Derrick Henry. He had double-digit touchdowns that year. If you want to liken two big bull-type running backs there, A.J. Dillon since 6'1", 250. You're in a 4.5 40. I mean, that's a pretty fast 40 for a dude that's that big, and the coach is familiar with how to use a big bruising back like a Derrick Henry in that type of offense. I think the fact that they used their third-round pick on a fullback of all things makes me think that they're going to go in some sort of like I formation, hand in the dirt on the fullback, and they're going to hand off to Dillon, especially in the red zone. I think he's going to get a ton of red zone work, which is where Aaron Jones actually had a lot of his fantasy value last year. I think they're going to get within the 10. They're going to bring in that huge running back in A.J. Dillon. They're going to run it down teams' throats. So those are my three reasons for why I think Dillon's a great pick this year as a rookie running back. One of my favorites is his ADP value. It's the way the offense is being run, and they have a coach that knows how to use that type of skill set in his offense.
Yeah, I think I didn't think you have to change what you said. I think there is a decline in the passing game. Rodgers clearly, whether it's the weapons around him or the line in front of him, he's certainly not, to me, the guy that he once was. So I think there's definitely some room. And like you said about the fullback, that was another really good point. I think we're going to see a lot of running in Green Bay this year.
You don't draft a fullback in the third round unless you plan on running. You don't draft a running back in the second round and a fullback in the third round unless you're not planning on running the football. So, but both of those guys, the best part here, Ryan, you can draft Cam Akers in the third or fourth round. You can get A.J. Dillon in the 12th or 13th round, and get them both in your lineups and see which one ends up. But FA Nation, who's your favorite rookie running back out there? Let us know in the comments section. Tweet at Ryan and myself. Let us know who you think has the best pick based off our debate here and see which way you guys are leaning. Topic number 2 here, Ryan, we're going to go with sort of a return of sports, as we mentioned. I want to know, what sport are you most looking forward to returning?
I'm not going to go with one of the three that are about to return. I'm going to wait for the one that's actually on schedule right now, and that is the NFL. And I have 3, to me, very good reasons of why it is. Number one, it's the closest thing of all of these that's trying to give us a real season. Obviously, with the baseball, with the players and the owners, they piddled around, and now we have 60 games, which is fine. But, I mean, it's a season. I'm going to watch it. I'm excited about it. But it's not really a real season. I mean, I hope my team wins. I'm going to be watching and rooting for them. But it's not. It doesn't have the same feel as the regular season would have. Basketball, they're doing their best to doing that 8 games to try to give teams a chance to get into the playoffs, and then regular playoffs. And then hockey has some bastardization of a playoff that they're trying to pull off with like 2014.
Something to get Montreal in the playoffs is what the NHL is doing.
But football's trying to give us 17 weeks. They're trying to give us the full schedule as it was intended. So that's the first reasons why I'm most excited for football. Second, to me, fantasy football is just the best of fantasy. you don't have to be on Twitter long to see if people are talking about fantasy baseball, fantasy basketball, fantasy hockey, or fantasy football. Fantasy football is by far the most popular. Baseball tries to say it's America's pastime, but I think those days went bye-bye quite a while ago. And not only fantasy, but betting. That sports books and DFS are just exploded now. And I think football just gives you the most variety of ways to enjoy it. So that is my second reason. And the third one's going to be selfish, and that's my team's really good right now. I'm a 49ers fan. They just lost the Super Bowl last year, but they look like they've got a shot again going back. I mean, Deebo Samuel injury hurts, but they brought most everyone back, made a few improvements, and I think they've got a real shot at going right back to the Super Bowl, at least a deep run into the playoffs. So for a selfish reason, I like the St. Louis Cardinals too, who are also good. I'm not expecting them to win, but I've got a lot of confidence in my 49ers this year, and I really don't want to miss a year of this window of opportunity where we're really good, because I've suffered a lot in the last 20 years, John. we had that nice little window of Kaepernick for a few years, but other than that, I haven't had this much chance to enjoy the NFL for my favorite team in a long time. So, God, I can't wait to see Jimmy G, Nick Bosa, and everybody else come back on the field, and of course, George Kittle.
You're welcome for that. Giving you a quarterback that could potentially, be the future. Save you from maybe having to sign Cam Newton. Who knows?
You're all on my Christmas card.
Yeah, on the Christmas, right? You know what? NFL is obviously a great choice. I love the NFL as well. The Patriots for this year will finally be more interesting, I'll say, than they have been in years past. I usually start off, I have like a yearly Twitter joke of like the Patriots have a 16-game preseason. The real season begins, in January, all those things. The Patriots have a 3-game regular season, because they were just so dominant for 20 years. But now, Stidham or Cam Newton, I'm assuming it's going to be Newton that's going to be starting. It gives a little bit more flair to the season and everything that's going on there. So football's a great choice, but probably shocked to no one that knows me out there that's watching this. I'm going to go with the NBA. And I'm going to go with reason number one being your reason number three. It's because my team has a chance here. Right now, in terms of Vegas odds, the Boston Celtics have the 5th best odds of winning the NBA championship, the 2nd best odds in the East, only to the Milwaukee Bucks. This is a Celtics team that has really blossomed not only over the second half of the season before that second half of the season before they stopped it, but I mean, they've been kind of contenders now for a couple of years. And they just had to sort of kick off Kyrie Irving really to maybe allow that team to reach its full potential. They almost got to the NBA Finals 2 years ago when Irving was out, taking the Cavs to Game 7, lost to LeBron at home in a game they had the lead in. But still, like, this current run of Celtics young kids, leading the way with Stevens, this is a kind of a culmination of all that. So one, my team's actually in it and they're competitive. Number two is the emergence of Jason Tatum. I actually, again, going homer here, Jason Tatum over the last month of the season before it got stopped, averaging 28 points per game. He's shooting 50% from the floor, almost 50% from three. This is a kid that we used, with the 3rd overall pick a couple seasons back. There's a reason why he was, in contention of being the number 1 overall pick. Absolutely explosive player. I'm excited to see him continue and maybe lead Boston, into the potential championship here. Almost again did a couple years ago as a rookie. Him and LeBron going back and forth in that game. Didn't come through them, but there's an opportunity now. And again, being a hometown kid, blogging the Boston Celtics, I like seeing my teams win, and having a guy like Jason Tatum to get behind and root for and see if he can come through. I'm all about that. And reason number 3 is I love the DFS NBA. I love betting NBA. Again, understanding the sport, I had a lot of success in that this season, so I was kind of upset when it was just sort of abruptly stopping on me. I'm sure Adam Ronis and Justin Fenselman and James Grande and Sean Mitchell are all in the same boat with me. We were killing it with DFS. We were killing it with sports betting. So getting it back, having an understanding of everything that's going on, we're excited to get all of that back in the bubble, which I think is sort of another interesting subplot to everything that's going on as well. So my 3 reasons for looking forward and liking and can't wait for the NBA to return is 1, my team is in it. The Boston Celtics, 2, I'm loving seeing the development of Jason Tatum continuing on into the playoffs. And number 3, I love the NBA DFS and NBA sports betting. For me, the NBA is just my favorite sport in general. So again, we both have our little favorites there, is why we're most looking forward to those sports returning.
Yeah, thanks, Rudy Gobert.
Yes, thanks Rudy Gobert for ruining literally everything. You make a joke about COVID, and then next thing you know, you're the first player to get tested positive. That's karma, right? Isn't that just
it really
how it is?
is. What a jerk.
Couldn't have happened to a better guy. So that's what we're looking forward to for sports. Let us know what sport you're looking forward to returning the most, and get a conversation going about that. And then Ryan, we'll end this one with a little bit of fun. Reports are already coming out that NBA players have broken the bubble rules. Mostly inadvertently. We've had Bruno Caboclo and now Richaun Holmes accidentally exiting the bubble zone, we'll say. Richaun Holmes most recently was going to get takeout. He had Kelly Oubre had tweeted that you can Postmates is allowed to deliver to the bubble, but there's a designated area apparently when you're supposed to pick up the food. Postmates is supposed to deliver to some security area. It gets desanitized and then left in like a pickup spot. And Richaun Holmes apparently just went directly to the driver, picked it up, crossed the lines, and now he's in a 10-day self-quarantine during this. So the question I want to have for you here, Ryan, and I'll actually start this one since you started the last two, is which food would you cause you to break the bubble line for? So I'm going to go and start this one, and I'm going to go with number one being Chick-fil-A. For me, I am a big Chick-fil-A guy. I know that's a bit of contention again. Some members of FA Nation, Sean Mitchell is a Popeyes guy. He happens to think Chick-fil-A is a bit overrated. I think it's absolute, appalling stance that he has on that. So my three reasons here are basically going to be my three favorite things to get at Chick-fil-A. Number one being the spicy chicken sandwich. I think they have by far the best spicy chicken sandwich of any restaurant there is. And I've had the Popeyes chicken sandwich. The Popeyes chicken sandwich that sold out across America. The Popeyes chicken sandwich that they ran out of buns. That they couldn't make the sandwiches anymore. There's a Popeyes like 15 minutes away from me. You have to sort of go buy it if you want to go and get Chick-fil-A. So for me, I didn't understand the hype there. The Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich to me, spicy chicken sandwich stands tall at number one. Reason number two, it's about the only place you can get waffle fries these days. Like few places give you waffle fries anymore. Arby's gives you the curly fries, which is about the only thing I would eat at Arby's. Is their curly fries? I'm not really into whatever else they serve at their menu. You have all the other fast foods like straight cut potato fries. Five Guys does have Cajun fries, which is pretty solid. But again, like nobody really gives you the waffle fry like Chick-fil-A does. So number two, you get the waffle fry there from Chick-fil-A, and then number three. For me, is their chicken strips. Again, we're going back to the easy chicken strips. You can get them in different size packs if you're really into that type of thing. Easy to eat on the go. You just grab a piece of chicken strip while you're driving. If you are a condiment individual, you can go ahead and they have plenty of sauces. My girlfriend is all about the Chick-fil-A sauce. Again, not my style. Occasionally, maybe this is a shocker, I don't mind barbecue sauce if I have to pick a condiment. Barbecue would probably be the way I would go. But my three favorite things to get at Chick-fil-A would be the three reasons I would go ahead and break the barrier. That's the spicy chicken sandwich, that's the waffle fries, and then that's the chicken strips. All of those reasons you would get me getting Postmates to violate the NBA bubble. How about you, Hallam? What's your go-to food that would make you break the bubble here?
It's the Polynesian sauce. That's the winner at the Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, I haven't had it.
One quick aside before I go into mine, like we don't have a Chick-fil-A near us. The closest one is like an hour and a half from here. Okay. But we have taken car rides.
Yeah.
And, like come up with other reasons. There's one in Danbury, Connecticut. So we're like, oh, we'll go to the Danbury Mall, and we just judged everybody in the food court that didn't have Chick-fil-A.
It's by far the biggest line in every food court. So absolutely. You're right. You wonder what everybody else is doing. There's a clear consensus better option in the mall, and you're not there. So I don't. What are you doing?
All right. So mine, I was going a couple different ways here, but I went with probably my favorite, which is Chinese food. Number one is not that expensive. I mean, if you're in the NBA, it's not the superstars breaking the bubble now. These and I know everybody in the NBA makes a lot of money, right. But if you're in the NBA and you don't know the seasonal finish, and maybe you're going to miss a couple paychecks, or maybe the playoffs won't happen if you guys keep, breaking quarantine, yeah. You might want to save a few dollars and go with Chinese food. I mean, you can still get a really good lunch special for like $6 or $7. You can find a buffet. I mean, that's just a steal of a deal. So my first reason is not that expensive. Number two, fortune cookies. Like, all right, so if you're quarantined, you're feeling alone, like you have to get out, I mean, what's better snack than to have one that talks to you or tells you the future? I mean, that's just, it's got to cure the quarantine blues. So I give them, there's a lifetime of happiness lies ahead of you. Like,
they don't taste too bad either.
They're very good. Accept something you cannot change, like quarantine, and you will feel better. You know, all the effort you are making will ultimately pay off. Like, all these good messages, I think, are perfect for these people who are stuck in this bubble. So that reason number 2 is the fortune cookies. Number 3 is the variety. You go a lot of different ways with the Chinese food. You know, I was thinking of pizza and wings was the one other thing I was thinking of, which is also awesome. But, you know, that get repetitive after a while. There's a world of options with Chinese food. You got, sesame chicken is always my go-to. You get the boneless spare ribs are delicious. Sweet and sour chicken, the lo mein, egg rolls.
Beef and broccoli is one of my go-tos.
Broccoli, like, you can't. There's just so many different good options that are all worth breaking quarantine for. So I know this isn't a long-winded part of the show, but you know, for affordability, variety, and the delicious fortune cookies, I'm breaking quarantine for Chinese. I might be hungry again 10 minutes later or 15 minutes later, but man, it's going to be worth it.
There's probably quite literally, I'm going to say like 10 Chinese food places in the town that I live in, and they're all like stone's throws from within one another. I'm always convinced that they're all owned by the same person, just like named something different. It's incredible, the road that I live off of, the amount of Chinese food places that are just passed by along. And there are definitely ones that are better than the others. I've tried them. So, you know, when people come in like, oh, where can I go for Chinese food? I'm like, really, you can go anywhere but, you know, Golden Garden. Don't go to Golden Garden. It's absolutely terrible. You know, like, you know, so if you're ever outside the Boston area coming to my hometown where I am, you know, I can set you up with some really good Chinese food. I also learned a lot when I think it was on the one of the table that discussions that Peking ravioli is a Boston thing.
I was on that one too.
You were on that one, yeah. So like apparently it's a pork dumpling to everybody else. It's Peking ravioli to me. Those things are by far my favorite Chinese food items. So I'm with you there. Chinese food would definitely be something I could crave. If I'm talking about like cravings though, I could eat pizza's probably the one food that I have like cravings for, where it's like I could put a pie in front of me and down a pie. You know, other than that, like I never really like crave a food, but pizza's probably one that would also cause me to break the NBA bubble there. Ryan, this was quick, but it was fun as always. Any final takeaways here before we wrap up?
Oh man, 10 days to baseball, 2 weeks to everything else. Just bracing for the storm, man. Bracing for the storm. Looking forward to having a lot of fun with everybody out in the FA Nation, and
we have a lot of content coming your way, so be ready. 3 sports, NFL draft guide. You'll all be out there. The pages will be flooded. We'll be in the chat rooms on Twitter answering any and all questions that you guys may have. So for Ryan, Jon Impemba here. Get us on Twitter, and we'll talk to you next time.